Hello again, everyone. This is Bob Martin, the RCSubGuy with the NautilusDrydocks.com, and I've got a bit of a kit review for you. This is one that I have not had the opportunity to have showed to you previously, but I'm excited to do so today. What we're going to be looking at is a kit by Engel of Germany, and it is of a German submarine, the Type 212, and this is the boat right here. So what I want to do is take this opportunity to go through in detail the features of this boat, and then we're going to drop it in the pond, or the pool in this case, and we're going to show you how it operates. So without any further delay, let's get into it. I'll show you what makes this thing tick. So the first thing to note with this boat is that it is a dry hull boat, as are all of Engel's offering, and for that matter, most of the Europeans who build RC submarines. So what that basically means is that in a dry hull submarine, the entire interior of the hull is dry, so it's all sealed off. It's a little bit different than what tends to happen in North America, in that we utilize a small watertight compartment, or cylinder typically, to house all of the electronics, and the rest of the hull free floods. Now, in a boat of this size, it's not a big deal because dry hull boats tend to be heavier because you need to offset all of that buoyancy with something. Of the boat this small, that additional weight is not of particularly large importance, but it does get important when you start talking about boats that are 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 feet in length, because those boats can end up weighing well over 100 pounds by the time you ballast them down to the proper water line. So let's start our tour from the outside, and we'll work our way in. The upper deck of this boat is removable, and it's held on with magnets. Now, this particular boat has some features that are not in, like the basic kits, in that it actually has a periscope system. Those periscopes rise and lower, and it's a really cool idea on how those work. So if we take a look underneath, you've got this little arm that raises and lowers those periscopes. And the idea behind this is that you're going to end up with like a little bellows that's going to sit underneath here, and as it inflates, it presses those periscopes up. And the really cool thing about how that bellows is powered is that it is actually powered from air pressure inside the dry hull of the submarine. So as the ballast system takes on water, it has to compress the air inside, and they put a little nipple in the top of the hull right here. You connect that by a hose to that bellows, so as that ballast tank takes on water, the air compresses, pushes into that hose, expands the bellows, and your periscopes rise. So in practical application, what that means is as you dive the boat with the ballast system, your periscopes rise. Pretty cool feature, and that is really exceptional engineering from a group of people known for exceptional engineering. To gain access to the interior of the hull is another really cool feature. Basically grab the back of the boat and you give it a twist and then pull, and then your entire equipment tray is going to come out the back of the boat. All right, let's take a tour of this technological marvel that we have in front of us, and we'll start at the bow. We've got a battery compartment, and this basically houses a series of nickel metal hydride batteries. It's a 15 amp fuse hiding in the nose right there. This little unit up in the front is a pressure sensor, and basically, if I understand things correctly, it's preset so that if this model exceeds 6 feet in depth, it will automatically blow ballast. So that's a really cool feature. If you lose track of your boat, you end up too deep, it will automatically surface again. Looking at the bottom, we've got some ballast weight that's been glued to the tech rack there, and this is the main on-off connection in here. One thing that I will say, what would be great would be to put, you know, for example, one of our MM10 magnetic mission switches in here, and that would allow you to simply scan a magnet over the bottom of the boat when it's fully assembled, and then it would turn the model on and off, as opposed to having to pull the whole tech rack out and make this connection. But as it's set up right now, as it came to me, this is how it's all connected. Moving into the center of the boat, we've got really a hallmark of Engel, and that's their piston ballast tank system. It actually extends far beyond this. It goes all the way back to here, and it's composed of the main piston itself, the drive motor. We've got some gearing in here, some brass gears, and then we've got some limit switches. And what you'll see in here, and you can, well, you probably can't see it. It's really buried in there. But right in that middle is a big threaded rod, and it shoots all the way to the back and forward. And basically when that ballast tank, when that plunger gets drawn backwards, that shaft extends back into the model. Now that's a bit of a drawback to the piston style ballast systems, is that they do take up a tremendous amount of room inside your model, but they do offer exquisitely fine control over the ballast of your boat. Moving into the back, we've got a battery eliminator circuit. We've got our receiver. It's a 6-channel receiver in there, and then we've got a pitch controller in here as well. Hidden in the back section here are the 2 servos for your X control surfaces, and then the main drive motor is buried in the back of the boat there as well. One thing that you'll notice on the bottom of the boat, there is a hatch that allows you to get access to the linkages that connect your rear dive planes. Taking a look at the back of the boat, it's just a beautiful brass propeller in there, and it's shaped obviously accurate to the 1-to-1 size boat. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to power this on. I'm going to show you some of the functionality of the boat. All right, the battery of the transmitter is going to die, so I'm going to try and show as much of this as I can here right now. Model's powered up. I've connected that bottom power unit there. You can see the pitch controller working. If I tilt that back and forth, you can see it working to try and keep the boat level. So that's very, very cool. And you can see that cruciform arrangement, the beauty of which is that rather than just 2 control surfaces as they would have with a cruciform style, you've actually got 4 control surfaces working at the same time, which offers a lot more surface area that imparts much greater movement to the boat. If we take a look at how that works in practical application, if we kind of hold this level, let's see here, we can enact our rudders left and right. You can see again all 4 control surfaces working there, and then our pitch control as well. And then for the ballast control, basically it's fully proportional, and I've got it on a dial on the top right hand corner of the radio, so it's fully empty right now. And if it was in the water, when I turn the dial, that piston tank is going to move back the same amount of distance that I turn the dial. So it's fully proportional control over the ballast system. You can see it or hear it in operation here. So that's about halfway. And that's like all the way, so I'll empty it again. And the other thing about it, the beauty of it, is that it's very, very quick as well. You can see it cycled through that entire ballast system in probably about 10 seconds, which is very, very fast for a model submarine. Here's a closer look at that bayonet sealing system. You can see these lips in here, and those go into corresponding grooves in the back of the main hull itself. You can see that right there. It's important when you put this together again is to make sure that there's no debris or buildup or anything that would impinge this seal from fully seating against the mating surface of the main submarine hull. So I know you're all thinking about it. That's all well and good, and that's a lot of technical mumbo jumbo that you may or may not care about. But the important thing is, how does it work? Well, I'll tell you my thoughts about it after I show you how it works in my little pool in the backyard. So let's get this thing wet, shall we? So now that you've had a chance to see it in the water for yourself, I wanted to give you some of my impressions of the performance of this cool little boat. First off, you'll notice that the turning radius is actually exceptionally good, and I went into that earlier talking about those X-tail rudders. I would say that this particular model would probably be able to describe a circle in the water of about 10 to 12 feet in diameter. So that's really, really sharp for an RC submarine. Similarly, pitch control is exceptionally responsive. When you get that under the water, you can pitch that boat forward and backward really easily, and it responds very quickly to inputs from the transmitter. It's also an exceptionally fast boat, and obviously there's two reasons for that. One is it's a very streamlined hull, the very modern design, and the second one is actually the drivetrain. Engel, in typical Engel fashion, did a great job in pairing up motor and propeller, and this particular model will go at a very fast walking pace once you get it up to speed. So a very quick model and a highly efficient one as well. When I had this boat out at Groton, Connecticut, I did drive it for over an hour, and the battery was only about 20%, 25% depleted. So that was really, really impressive. The ballast control is one of the things that makes this boat really fun to drive as well. And again, I went into that in detail a little bit earlier. The movement of that piston is very quick. So you're going to go from full surface trim to full submerged trim within about 10 seconds. And you can stop it anywhere between the two extents. The thing to note, however, about a single tank piston system is that as that water gets drawn in, it fills from one end of it to the other. So basically what you end up doing is, as that plunger gets drawn back, the bow of the boat gets heavier and then the stern equals out. So really, for proper trimming, you're going to want to operate the boat in either fully submerged or fully surfaced trim. So overall impressions, I am exceptionally happy with this boat. I have no problems recommending it to anybody that would like to have a really conveniently sized model submarine that works great. I will, however, say that in typical German fashion, it is not the simplest boat to build or to maintain. There are a lot of sensors, there are a lot of electronics on board, and if any of those stop functioning for whatever reason, diagnosing the issue and repairing it is probably something that is going to take a little bit of time, effort, and experience in order to do properly. I hope you enjoyed this video. A little review of the Engel 212 class of submarine. Again, my name is Bob Martin, the RCSubGuy with the NautilusDrydocks.com. I really thank you for joining me. If you have the need, the desire for more cool RC submarine stuff, be sure to visit my website at NautilusDrydocks.com for lots of parts, kits, components, information, and resources on this amazing hobby. Thanks again, everyone. Catch you next time.